This is the Retirement Bullpen with Richard Warner. The team at Warner Financial Solutions want to help you feel confident about your retirement, no matter where you stand. Get more at warnerfinancialsolutions.com. Now, the Retirement Bullpen.
All right, we are back in the retirement bullpen, and fitting because baseball season is well underway here. So we've taken the jackets off, the arms all nice and warm. We've thrown a few warm-up pitches, and we're getting ready to run out onto the field here and tackle that prickly and complicated thing that can be prickly and complicated, that is retirement. I'm your co-host, Doug Turnbull, here with your retirement income certified professional, and of course, the founder of Warner Financial Solutions in the Omaha area, Richard Warner. How you do today, sir?
Doing great, Doug. How are you doing?
I'm really well, thank you. And like you, I'm happy it's baseball season. But for me, it ramps up my time occupied as a fan. For you, it's a whole different thing because you're way more than just a fan.
Yes, I am. We are right smack in the middle of high school baseball season. So very, very busy time as a high school baseball coach on top of my duties as a financial advisor.
Yes. Yeah, I would think that would really pile in a lot. So what's a day like? Do you have to get out of the office a little early to catch those after-school practices, or do they not practice until 5 or 6 at night? I mean, when are we getting home?
Practices aren't bad. It's game days that are bad, specifically away games, because, sometimes we'll have to get on a bus at 1:30, 2 o'clock in the afternoon to head to an away game. So
oh, man.
In Nebraska, varsity high school baseball starts at 4:30, so you're getting there an hour 15, hour and a half before the game. And, where I live is not in the Omaha area, it's just outside the Omaha area. And so wherever we go, we're looking at a 30 to 60-minute bus trip on top of all that. So yeah, those days eat a lot of my time. But the nice thing is I'm sitting on there. If somebody calls, got questions or whatever, I can respond. So it works, and it's only a couple of months out of the year. So yeah, I love it. So it's a lot of fun.
And that's the important thing is a lot of times people say they love something, but they don't make time for it. Now, I have the ability to play an instrument. All right. I grew up playing bass and all that stuff. And really in my entire adult life, haven't made time for it, even though I had the tools there. So it says a lot about you. And I think there's a retirement lesson that can be learned there as well. In fact, it takes planning. Oh, there it is. And that's what we're going to get into today. In fact, our last 2 episodes, you can find all these episodes on Apple, Spotify, and on the media page at warnerfinancial.com. Last couple of episodes, we've had long-term care, just a discussion about that, and also legacy planning. So check those out. Today, we're going to talk about, we're just exited the tax preparation season, but it's a year-round type of thing, and even a thing that you plan for at the year end if you have required minimum distributions for tax strategies or tax strategizing, tax planning. So I want to walk through that issue today, Richard, and I guess, oh God, I just got done thinking about taxes, but you should never stop thinking about them, right?
Unfortunately, Doug, that is correct. We can never, ever stop thinking about them. And yes, I just got done dealing with mine for the most part as well. And quite honestly, I think that's part of the problem for people is they get it done. April 15th rolls around, it's done. Maybe they get a refund, maybe they pay out, depends upon their situation. I run into a lot of scenarios. I talk to a lot of people, and one thing that seems to happen is there's a lot of surprises that happen when they do their taxes. The problem is when you're doing your taxes in February, March, April, there's very little you can go back to do to fix any issues you have because the previous year's over. There are some things, for example, you could make an IRA contribution, and that could reduce your taxable income a little bit. Those aren't large amounts of money, though, so it's only can do so much. Obviously, that date's passed for this year now, but the key to end-of-year tax planning really starts now. It starts throughout the year. One thing I've added with my personal CPA is we're going to have a review in the 3rd or early 4th quarter just to make sure where things are. Do we need to make some adjustments? Are there some things that we can do to minimize our taxation to the best of our ability?
Right.
Just getting ahead of the game, basically.
For sure. You don't want to be in a pen, basically, where it's November or December. And there's things, there's the time that your taxes for the previous year are due in April, but there's things you have to do before the end of the year to make certain numbers go up or down, right? You don't want to be at a point where you have to do all of that at the same time. If there's money you need to take out of something or put into something, it's better to spread that over the year, basically, right?
Correct. Exactly right. So, for example, you mentioned Roth conversions, or not Roth conversions, but RMDs.
Yeah.
RMDs are something retirees have to take out. They have to be done by the end of the year. Sometimes they don't need those, and there are things they can do to avoid that. Qualified charitable distribution, for example, is an idea that can help somebody. Or potentially building a Roth conversion plan where that may not fix the issue this year, but the more you convert of qualified that's never been taxed to Roth, the less money you have to take out that the IRS forces you to if you don't want to or need to. Now, there's tax planning in that because that can create more taxes when you do the conversion. So you got to make sure you're on the same page with your situation and what your tax bill actually is to do those types of things. But that's some of the idea behind planning is you want to get an idea where you're at, where you're going, and what can you do to eliminate. Some people you can't do anything. I mean, it is what it is sometimes.
Yeah.
But it doesn't hurt to take a peek.
Well, for sure. Yeah, you got to, there's no harm in at least taking a look to seeing what you can do. I think about the tax software I use every year. And it says, do you want to go ahead and have a look just in case you know the deductions? And of course, I already know I don't have any deductions, but you never know. There might be a new one that's added in there. And that's a tough thing and doing is chasing tax law, right? And I know at Warner Financial Solutions, how does it work? Is there someone on staff specifically that handles that? You mentioned your CPA. Is that your personal one or the one that works for the company? You know, is it a one-stop shop for all that, I guess?
So we don't have a CPA in-house. We do have several people that we have clients working with that we have firsthand knowledge of their abilities, and then we can recommend depending upon where you live and what your situation is. We provide a service in-house that our clients essentially have a good feel for when we're doing things. This is what the tax bill is going to be.
I see.
We use a tax software program that really looks at your situation almost down to the penny of if you use this and this and this, or you have this piece of income, this long-term capital gain, this short-term capital gain, this RMD, this Roth conversion, whatever it might be. It puts it all together on a tax map. And that tax map really helps you see what your tax consequences are for this year. So it helps you plan. What should I withhold? If I do convert, what is the amount I should convert, and different things like that. Capital gains can come into play as well. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So we've had a volatile market this year. This could be an opportunity to consider getting out of a particular fund or stock that maybe you've held on to. It just hasn't done very well. It's lost some money. Sometimes losses can benefit you in your tax bill. You can take a tax deduction based on that loss next year. But you also have to get out at the most optimal time as well. And obviously we don't have a crystal ball, so we don't know for sure when that's going to be. But right now could be a good time. So these are all things you have to consider depending upon the types of funds that you have. IRA funds as they come out, 401k funds as they come out, they're going to be taxed. Roth IRA funds are not. So maybe in your tax plan and you're looking throughout the year and you have an unexpected expense come up, maybe it's a good idea to utilize that Roth account that you have, at least a little of it, to reduce the tax consequences of that surprise bill you had. So it doesn't create some issues other places, because every time you start piling on more and more income that's potentially taxable, it affects another piece of income a lot of people forget about, and that's their Social Security.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people don't get taxed or very little tax on their Social Security, and then something happens that now we have a higher tax rate. We plan for that, but we don't always think about the Social Security and what that's going to do, and that's where you get surprised. And if you take a really big step in income, you can affect your Medicare Part B premiums as well.
Yeah.
Which that can be really super expensive as well. That can double or triple or quadruple. And that's not, if you're a married individual, that's not just for you. That's for you and your spouse. So that gets really expensive really, really quick. So these are all things you need to be aware of. And again, this is why you want to do some planning. So there's no cookie cutter way necessarily for somebody to do this. It just depends upon your situation.
Well, for sure. It's definitely not cookie cutter. Yeah, we sometimes bristle at the word snowflake as that became a politically charged word over the last decade or so. But everybody's deal is like a snowflake. It's unique. It's like a fingerprint too. When you think about taking on sudden increases in income, Maybe you're downsizing. Maybe you're near retirement age and you downsize a property and you sell the 4-bedroom house to move it a 2-bedroom condo or a ranch or move it to a retirement community, something like that. Well, suddenly that windfall of cash, boom. Maybe you're 72 years old and you've been living off a nice tidy income, but now you're forced to start drawing off your retirement accounts, your required minimum distributions. Bam. More income, right? Those are just two I think of course. And then there's also the element, and we talked about long-term care and legacy planning in our last 2 episodes. So legacy planning, you don't want to leave, and we hear the word all the time, buzzword in the industry, tax time bomb for the next generation too. So I'm sure also the tax implications for the next generation are something you discuss with people too, Richard.
For sure, because part of reducing your taxation can also be part of reducing their taxation as well. Not always, though. I mean, it depends upon the situation. Sometimes you can reduce your taxation and increase their taxation. And I've actually run into a few people that think, well, it's not their money anyways. They can deal with it at the time. And hey, I mean, if that's your attitude, it's your money. That's your right. But some people don't. Some people, even though, and I would say a lot of people, probably more than not, they want their money to do the best it can even when they're not here someday.
Right.
They want their kids or whoever they're leaving it to, even though they didn't necessarily earn that money, didn't save that money, they want them to get the most out of it and not Uncle Sam or the IRS or whatever, a lot extra fees and expenses to who knows who because of lack of planning.
Well, for sure. I mean, and a lot of people that listen here probably have heard a message in their place of worship about stewardship of your money, right? You know, how well you do it.
Right.
And I struggle with this tension of, I go, well, you know what? I'll just not care about my money. That's my way of showing money's not my master, right? Well, you don't want money to be your master, but if you just don't care about it, then you're a bad steward of it. So you have to find that balance of making sure that dollar goes the longest way. That doesn't mean being greedy.
Right.
It means making sure it works, right? And hey, helps make the world a better place. You talk about the qualified charitable distributions later on. So there's so many things to discuss with taxes, how it affects you pre-retirement, during retirement, doesn't impact your Social Security, doesn't impact your Medicare premiums. How much will your kids end up having to pay? And maybe they've got a great job too. And suddenly, you know, they're inheriting a house from you. And it's like, oh gosh, a lot of these things. So if they want to discuss this with you, Richard, they want to set up an appointment at Warner Financial Solutions, how do they go about doing that?
So the best place to start is probably give us a call, but you can also do that through our website. You can message us on Facebook. There's lots of ways. But what we would want to do and the services that we would provide, this is definitely something we can help people, is just understand in the middle of a year, not when it's already done. You know what your tax consequences were for last year. Maybe good, bad. Maybe next year's going to be different. Maybe you're starting RMDs this year. There's lots of different things that could happen. We want to sit down and give you a snapshot of what your tax situation looks like on a tax map. And this will really, really help you. And if you have a CPA or a tax professional, it'll really help them as well in strategizing to have the right withholding, to make sure we have enough set aside, to make sure if we are going to do some things and make some tweaks, that we do it correctly to get the most out of your money and pay the least taxes.
Strategy. It takes a strategy, all right? Tax prep is tactical. You got to do that every year. Strategy is looking at the long term. So to make that call, have a complimentary meeting just to see if you and Richard Warner and the team are the right fits for each other. You dial 402-274-9185, 402-274-9185, or you can go to warnerfinancialsolutions.com. All the tabs are on there, including the Contact Us tab and the Media tab, so you can find out past episodes of the show. Richard, again, I just love what you said. When you're thinking about tax planning, you're thinking about it year round because you don't want to be surprised by a trap door at year's end or by a bill you probably shouldn't have there in April of the next year or so. So thank you for walking us through that, sir. And, you know, I know you have the crack of the bat and the tap of the glove on the mind there, but I'm glad we could think about taxes for a little bit the right way. Appreciate that.
Appreciate it, Doug. It's always a pleasure.
Well, the pleasure is mine. Thank you so much, too, to our producer, Brandon Benefield. See, we got the bullpen and the field here. Brandon Benefield, who helps put this together and get this published. And thank all of you for listening. I want to encourage you to subscribe to the podcast so you get the notifications when they come out every 2 weeks. If you know someone in your circle who's been, yik-yakking and yapping about their taxes and maybe not so happy about them, send them the link. Let them know, hey, there's someone you can talk to about this, especially if you're in the greater Omaha area. All right. And you can also, we want you to go to the Warner Financial Solutions Facebook page too. There's a lot of good content on that. He is Richard Warner, retirement income certified professional at Warner Financial Solutions. Again, I'm your co-host, Doug Turnbull. Thank you for listening to the Retirement Bullpen here, and we'll put the cleats on for another show here very soon. Take care.
Insurance products are offered through the insurance business Warner Financial. Warner Financial is also an investment advisory practice that offers products and services through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, a registered investment advisor. IPW does not offer insurance products. The insurance products offered by Warner Financial are not subject to investment advisor requirements. NPN number 7617022. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. Any references to protection, safety, or lifetime income generally refer to fixed insurance products, never securities or investments. Insurance guarantees are backed by the financial strength and claims-paying abilities of the issuing carrier. This podcast is intended for informational purposes only. It is not intended to be used as the sole basis for financial decisions, nor should it be considered as advice designed to meet the particular needs of an individual situation. Warner Financial is not permitted to offer, and no statement made during this show shall constitute tax or legal advice. Our firm is not affiliated with or endorsed by the U.S. government or any governmental agency. The information and opinions contained herein provided by third parties have been obtained from sources believed to be reliable, but accuracy and completeness cannot be guaranteed by Warner Financial. Please remember that converting an employer plan account to a Roth IRA is a taxable event. Increased taxable income from the Roth IRA conversion may have several consequences. Be sure to consult with a qualified tax advisor before making any decisions regarding your IRA.